welcome to Yü-GäME. We're on YouTube and we talk about games. Where did we come up with the name? And this video is about Fallout 4 building basics. We're going to be going through the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts, the haves and have-nots in Fallout 4's building mechanics. At the end we'll apply some of the basics and take a sneak peek at some of the stuff I've smashed together. So let's dive in and welcome to the wastelands of Boston. For this particular demonstration I'll be showing you the settlement at the Starlight Drive In, but first things first, I suppose we better clear up. Oh! No, that's not. Oh! God. Guys, why are you holding on to a mini nuke? That's not even melee weapon. Oh. So that's one way of clearing up, I suppose. Well, now that's all done, I guess the first thing is to talk about the workshop. So the workshop is essentially a non-movable infinite storage chest which allows you access to the build screen. It's always in first person. It also has the ability to scrap any junk item and turn it into its constituent parts. So building in the post-apocalyptic future is based off these building elements. Though you can just use the junk you find around the wasteland without having to scrap it first if you want to. So it allows you, as you can see here, to scrap absolutely everything you come across, well, nearly everything, and then allows you to use it for building. So once you've actually run around and you've managed to actually scrap all the different things that you've got, you'll notice that there's actually a green area on the outside, like a green fence. This is your build area. You can't scrap anything on the outside of that. It's also got an invisible roof, which means that you can only build to a certain height. They also have certain sizes in settlements, but it's numerical. So for this one chair, it takes up the same space as this one prefab metal building, as you can see here as well. So, first things first, let's actually talk about resources. So, the basic resource for each settlement, they're water, food and beds. You don't actually need to build any structures at all, but they're all just aesthetic. As you can see, these little water pumps, they do 3 water each. You can get away with them, but if you've got access to power, then do the water purifier, but it does have to be built in water. You get 10 water for each one of them, so they're a great thing to do. Food as well, turns out most people are vegetarian in post-apocalyptic Boston. Not surprising when you actually want to make a roast meal out of a bloatfly. You can buy a Brahmin, but it doesn't seem to do anything. So here I'm mostly planting, you see, corn, some potato. I also recommend mute fruit, because you get 1 food for each one of those. The gourd, the melon, they hover in the air, and it just looks mental. Finally, obviously, there's beds. So a nice little selection of beds, pretty easy to make. As you can see here, you can have the dirty one or the clean one, as if you really had to make a decision there. But my little tip for you is go ahead and use the sleeping bags. They only cost 3 cloth each, and they actually count as a bed. No one seems to be too bothered as long as they've got somewhere warm and dry to sleep. And hey, if you've survived the apocalypse, you deserve a nice little place to put your head down at the end of the day. So when all the resources are met, people are happy, and that's what you want. So then it's time to build some houses. Start with the floors. They connect well together, will form the foundation from which the rest of the building will lock into place and be constructed. So on that note, the concrete and wooden raised foundations will be your best friend on projects. There's another video I've got about that later on. Walls connect to the floors and to one another. As you can see, they're snapping into place nicely. You don't have to make a wall around your settlement. Some of them I'd highly recommend to do so. Some of them don't bother, but a little tip, as you can see, this small shack wall here actually costs just a little bit less than the others, and when resources are as sparse as they are in the Boston wasteland, that might be something that you want to look at. So it rains often and we have lots of storms, and this is a great reason to actually build these shelters. And you can have these little slope roofs if you want to, even though some of them have holes in. But my recommendation to you is, instead of using just these things, because you can get some really great structures if you build vertically, go to the floor section and scroll along until you get to this, which is the shack upper floor. So it's a good thick one, and then you can build some cool stuff on top of that. So there you have it, the very basics of a basic hut, and maybe snap a little stairs into there. There we go. Alright, so there we have it. There's the very basic structure. We've got the walls, we've got the floor, we've got the roof. Now, what we really need is a little bit of power. And it's a really good idea to put power up on an elevated space if you can. If you can elevate it a little bit, it allows you to actually connect it up to a few things a little bit easier. That little spiky thing you can see coming out, that's where the wire is going to come out. We need that to actually directly connect to all the things. So here we go. Let's grab the wire, each one of them costing 1 copper, and you can see it's highlighted white on the water purifier. Bam, connected up. Nice and easy. But what about when it comes to the actual power for lights? So here, let's smash a couple of lights in. Well, for that, we need a conduit, and conduits have an area of effect. They can power all electrical items, and they need to be directly connected to a power source, but can be a nice way of maybe getting all the power from one area where you've got loads of generators connected to each other throughout your entire settlement. And it actually look pretty cool as well. But as you can see here, we can connect it up, and bam! The lights are on. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a little introduction to some of the basics of Fallout 4. Let's take a look at some of the things that I've made.